know what? Forget the intro. Forget it. Absolutely forget it. I've messed it all up. Welcome in, my friends, and you are my friends to your Matchday ticket. I'm your host, the Governor. There's no intro today because I haven't uploaded it onto the server. So I've made it, but not uploaded it. It's been that busy, but wonderful all at the same time. And I'm glad you all could join us this evening. I hope you are all well. JT is in the building. Good evening, JT. Ryan, Martin, you need to change your description about Lambert. Oh, yes. Yes, you are right. He is still on the description. You're spot on. I've just remembered. Oh, Dawn's welcome in, Dawn. Skip intros here. Jamie Wharton's here. Anthony Still, welcome in, my friends. So, a big night tonight. The start of a new era. Yes, we know Paul Cook is not taking charge this evening, but it's still an exciting time to be a Town fan. The guy that the takeover rumours said they wanted is now in charge. It's just an exciting time. And one I can't really wait to see unfold. I can't remember, maybe aside from Evans coming into the club, where we've had this level of excitement. Let's first of all bring in a co-host of mine. He's, of course, the aficionado. Oh, there you go. Hello, Stephen. How are you?
Time you've done that, just forgotten to bring me in. Hello. All right.
I forget my own name half the time. So I'm very well, thank you. I'm excited about tonight's game. It's nice to step away from the takeover sort of madness, if you like, and the rumour and the speculation, and actually play a game of football. But a game of football that A, means something, which several weeks ago we didn't think potentially it would, and B, with a new manager ready to come in on Saturday.
Yeah, I think this is the most excited I've been, ahead of an Ipswich Town game for quite some time. Yeah, great news earlier. Gary Roberts as well, love it. Obviously, he's not in charge tonight, but it still feels like it is the start of a new, like you say, a new era, one we can actually be positive about, and there's change afoot. So
because every single player today knows it's not a matter of this might be Lambo's last game. This is now Paul Cook's first game coming Saturday. Do I keep the shirt I'm wearing? Or does he see something in film and tape and study of another player and I've not done my job right? So you are playing for it. And as we said earlier in the show, or earlier in the day, rather, you're Johnny Duncan. Good shirt, Steve. Good skills. Absolutely. He has on-point shirts, Johnny. He really, truly does. Facebook, you boys deserve some overtime. Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, we've already been live today, me and the young one here, Steve. That was a good time, wasn't it, Steve?
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Yeah, nice and lively.
There's the Ko-Fi links in the chat. Ever so kind of you to suggest overtime payments. Michael Finch, welcoming good performance needed, as they know they need to impress the new man. Absolutely spot on. I completely agree with that. Mark Job. Evening, Lambert. Isn't something we'll say again. As of course, it's to you, Martin. Of course. Well, this trio is not complete without, of course, Mr. Positivity. And surely he can't be negative today.
Wake up to the, wow. Wake up to the money, turn me right on. You look like you got dressed with no lights on. A Superman that spin like a cyclone. Fit check, spin like a cyclone. Wake up to the money, turn me right on.
Yeah, but we're crap. We're not going to dominate any team.
But that could be about to change, Mr. Moles. Change is afoot.
Every time.
Oh, it's a great one. But Neil, since the last time we sat together, we have gone through 2 top 6 victories, takeover speculation, a manager being mutually told to go away. Then we've got a new manager coming in. Have you known
it don't get much better than this, does it?
Where do you start?
On which topic would you like to first pull out of the bag and say, well, this surprised me?
Well, the fact that a takeover was potentially happening, that's something quite big.
Absolutely.
Their choice of manager has now come in. Everyone's got their wish and Lambert's gone.
This might be the only time we catch him in a positive mood, so I might have to clip this up, Steve. But Neil, Paul Cook, what are your first thoughts about the man coming in? Paul, yes, I said it right, Steve.
Hold on.
It's not Lee.
It's not Lee, no.
I must admit, I don't really know anything about him. and I haven't really searched anything about him. But from what I've heard, he sounds like a man that could at least get the lads doing what they need to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve, Neil doesn't know a lot about Paul Cook. Tell him what you think about Paul Cooks. Paul Cooks. He's saying his name again.
Yeah, Paul Cooks. Yeah, I like him. He's got a good track record in League One. Was it Chesterfield who got up from League Two to League One? And then he got promoted with
Portsmouth.
To Portsmouth. I know it was one of the P's.
48%, 48% win record with Portsmouth.
Win percentage, and then he obviously got Wigan up as well as champions. They would have been up obviously last year had it not been for their points deduction. So no fault of his own, they obviously dropped down. Hopefully it's the fourth Paul Lucky this time. So
yes, before we go on, Contra's right. If this YouTube video right here gets 50 likes, we'll do a live second half watch along. But first, I must eat my pasta bake. Otherwise, my wife will kill me for not spending time with her, but then B, not eating her cooking as well. But yes.
Yeah, I'll have to get lunch on as well, or dinner, shall I say.
But there we go. But yes, 50 YouTube likes, live watch along incoming second half. But I'm really quite, as Steve sort of illustrates there, Neil, really quite, that's why I'm excited. And I spoke to Freddie from Pompey News now early in the day. He said, you know what, I was really excited every time I watched my football team play, and I never thought we'd lose. Yes, at times we played some frustrating possession-based football, but at other times we played some scintillating stuff. He's got an eye for a player. Some of the players he's picked out for Portsmouth, this is from the lower leagues, are now playing in the Premier League. And it'll just rejuvenate and shake and make better Ipswich Town Football Club. And as he spoke, I said to him at the end of it, and I might release the video still, it was going to be a content piece coming out. If there were shares in Paul Cook, I'd buy them, thanks to what he was telling me, because I went from a not for me to a yes, I'll have some of that. And I'm really quite excited.
It's everything we've been crying out for.
It is, and he's here.
But we want him to be backed up by the club, don't we? Really, not just one man going alone.
Well, 100%. And I just want to pull up a very quick, before we move on to today's game and the team news and whatnot, which is, obviously a big reason of why we're here. But something he said in his press conference today, I said on Twitter, get it in my veins, because he said in here's what he said today. Winning promotion this season is the immediate target. It'll be a big challenge, but it's a challenge that everyone at the club has a part to play in. Now, how refreshing is it to hear a manager coming in and instead of saying, "Yeah, well, we won't put a name on it, we won't put pressure on it, we won't do anything like that. We'll just take the journey as it comes. Of course, we'll aim for this, we'll do our best, but we don't want to put too much pressure too early." No. Immediate promotion.
We haven't had that in a while.
I saw that when he tweeted it, and I remember Lambert saying when we were in League One, he said, "No one's got a divine right to get out of this league. We can't say this is going to happen. We can't do that." Why? This is what I love from Paul Cook. He's come in and said, "Yeah, this is the target."
Yeah,
fantastic, because that's going to get the players instantly stirred up. Brilliant.
And as a fan, Neil, you've often said, "Oh, no ambition at the football club." Well, I think we all have. There's no direction, no oomph, no passion, no energy. We're not going to dominate anybody with whatever. To hear a manager say, "Forget all the spill, forget all the PR. Immediate promotion is the challenge and is the target." As a fan, you're immediately told, "Hey, sit up, because we've got ambition at this football club."
There's only one problem. There's a flip side to doing that. If you don't get it, you end up being in trouble.
But the flip side of it as a fan, I don't care about at this point in time. I'll deal with that on May the 7th. Right now, tonight means something, and there's no longer because earlier in the day you didn't see the show, I don't think, because I think you were working. But Steve, many people were saying, "Oh, top six, yeah, we might get that, and we'll see." He's almost saying that top six, 4, 5, 3, 2, 1, whatever. I'm going for promotion. That's my remit. I'm not here to play in the Mickey Mouse League.
Thing is, if we carry on as we have the last couple of games, there is no real reason why we can't do what he wants. But if we think about what we were getting under Lambert, if we get more of that for Cook, then yeah, pretty much he'll be hard pushed to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, and as somebody says here, already more direct than Lambert ever was. ITFC Tweedy, welcome in. Curtis Shays, I don't think if Paul Cook doesn't get promotion this season, anyone be on his back, to be fair. I agree with that. I think
we don't expect it anyway, do we?
But you do realise if we do get promotion, I will say this sentence more than once. Paul Lambert laid the foundation for this.
Yeah, but he would never have got it. It would never have happened.
I know, but Johnny Duncan, the last 3 games have been proof the players had more to give. We might have to have a bloke to get out of them now with that approach. Callie, win tonight. We're making the top 2. Rob Smith, nor misses the Fleetwood game. He does. That's a shame.
Wasn't it said that the last 2 performances weren't down to knowing a new manager was coming in? Because the players didn't actually know anything about it.
Well, that's all speculation. We can't say for sure. Like we can't say for example, there's been rumored that Matt Gill has been picking the team and doing the team. Look, we don't know. Lambert was here, saw 2 wins, and now he's not. What we do know is Caden Jackson and John Nolan, as we move on to tonight's game, are not in the squad. Steve, talk to me about this because they've been training with the under-23s. They've played a couple of under-23 games. They've not been marooned on an island.
No, I think I mentioned it in the show earlier. I'm not surprised they're not directly involved tonight. It's good because apparently they're training back with the first team again. It's good that they are doing so. I reckon they're going to be back in around the first team for Saturday. But yeah, tonight I'm not surprised really because it's probably going to take time. I know they're not exactly going to be.
For what?
Well, I know they're not exactly going to be out of practice because obviously they're still training and they're still playing football, just in a different group. But I don't know. To be fair, I think they'll be back for the weekend.
To me, then it was more than what just Lambert felt about them. If they've still been pushed to the under-3s to think about whatever they need to think about, then it's a club-wide issue, not just a Lambert issue.
Yeah, I mean that does leave it open to that, to that interpretation. And Callie says they need a week in the first team before getting, training in the first team before getting in the squad. But before they fell out with Lambert, they were in the team. Like Jackson played against Sunderland. That was only to me, it was like 5 minutes ago. Well, about a year ago. But in reality, it was only a couple of months ago, Steve, that the 3 of us sat here when we last saw him play.
Well, all I can think of is if they've been out of the first team for quite a while now, in the grand scheme of things, if they've got a new manager coming in, he's going to be doing things in a different way. Get them in for a training session or 2 before putting them back in and around the first team. That's all I can think of. Get them back up to speed with the first team, how he's going to be doing things. Don't just stick him in at the weekend when things are still a bit up in the air. So,
Stephen Parry, under 23 training and 13 is more in. That would worry me. In all honesty, I just don't. Someone will have to educate me on it. And obviously after the show, you're all welcome to join us, and I would love to speak to you about it because I don't get this. They're not quite ready yet. Like it's not like they've arrived without a pre-season. They've been playing all season. They've scored. They've assisted. They've been and in one breath, Steve, we're saying we wanted Dyer. Well, how could we want the under 23s coach if we're saying that their training isn't good enough?
The thing with Dyer, I mean, I was never particularly up for having him in charge of the first team because he's got very limited experience in a managerial role, and it's just because he's an Ipswich boy, isn't it? It's because he's a town legend. I'll get him in charge. It's very risky doing that, especially when you've got so little experience. So I'm glad it isn't Dyer, at least for now. In the future, who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be interesting to see if he stayed on. If he stays on, if Paul Cook keeps in on that, I don't. One reason I think he won't, but it'd be interesting to see that. Curtis James under 3s, Neil. Bloody hell, is that bad? It's a good point. I know what you meant, but it's a great point. Joey Duncan, it wouldn't be right to drop any off the bench. I don't know. Drinan has done about as much as me and you, Johnny. Let's be honest. Leighton Durrant. Jackson's gone down, in my opinion, liking that tweet to say a big head who's achieved nothing. Well, and that plays into what you were saying there, Neil, because, obviously Matt Gill, I would imagine it, and Jimmy Walker, I would imagine, are friends with Paul Lambert, and we don't know. We're not privy to conversations behind the scenes, but yeah, you could read into it. Then their inclusion is more of an issue than we know. Andrew Foreman, never make the top 2, be happy with the playoffs. George Blackwell, they haven't fallen out with players. Brandt says, imagine if we played 2 strikers in the game with Cook. Wow. Alex Wilson, the level on the 23s is lower than the first team. Guys, I wonder what has actually happened with Hughes now. Has the club just put him out ready to release him? Yeah, that's an interesting one. Hughes, again, doesn't make anywhere near The team. 5 more likes for 50 in a live second half watch along. If you want a live second half watch along, you know what to do. Johnny Duncan, I'd have taken Dyer over keeping Lambert. Well, yeah, but I think that's probably the real point, wasn't it? People wanted anybody but Paul Lambert.
Just anyone apart from Lambert.
Absolutely. On to the team then. It's an unchanged lineup. No, sorry, finish that point.
No, I was going to say, a couple of people have said about Hughes. I mentioned him earlier. And I liked Hughes. Years back, he was a great looking player. He's never looked like that player he was since he came back from his injury. He's now obviously playing, like everyone, they're now playing for their future. And it's clear that even tonight, because you've still got Matt Gill there, Hughes is still way down in that pecking order from the Lambert reign. When Cook now comes in, everyone's starting fresh. So you could see a rejuvenated Emma Hughes as well, because he could see something in him. You don't know. I doubt it, to be honest. But you never know. So
he's not hungover, Steve. You can't give him a cup of a Barocca and a glass of water and say he'll be rejuvenated.
I'm just trying to come up with excuses for the guy. I think he could. You never know. It's a good chance to get players back out performing better. Obviously, you've got to impress a new manager. You're playing for your future now.
I don't believe Hughes really has anything more to give us. He had a little bit of a thing to say earlier, didn't he, in the season?
Yeah.
And basically, play me, I'm good enough. And he hasn't really shown it, has he?
100, yeah, Facebook user. Hughes was promising, but too many injuries. Talking injuries, we have the same amount with Cook. That'll be interesting. We've reached the 50 likes. Boom. Let's do it. I love it. Stephen Parry, Cook made a player out of Grigg. Nobody else has. That's true. Dawn agrees with you, Neil. Dawn, you are the first and probably the last to do that. We welcome all opinion. No, I'm joking with you, Dawn. I'm joking with you, Neil. Anyway, right, unchanged lineup. I'm quite excited. I know. I've been called much worse. That's quite a good little comment. Parrott and Norwood. This could be a start of a lovely partnership here, Steve. They played okay at the weekend. It's an unchanged lineup. As somebody said, we're seeing what Matt Gill thought of the rotation policy. By the way, who here cannot wait to do it in a pub? Like, the very first time in a pub when someone drops their glass, the place is going to go absolutely ape with hooray!
That wasn't a glass. That was part of my chair. That's concerning. Maybe try to tell me something.
Well, if you disappeared, then I know where you've gone. Yeah. Tony Man, I still reckon Eddie Howe would have been better. Yeah, well, you're telling me. Daniel, it is a watch long, but in the second half. Because in the first half, a man must eat his dinner.
I've got to cook my dinner and then eat. But second half we're all over it. ITFC Tree, I'd rather Lancashire on the bench than Drinnan. I would rather you on the bench, Tweedy, than Drinnan. I ain't even going to lie anymore. I'm going to sugarcoat it. Ridge Boy 83, Parrott to get off the mark tonight. Yes, back to Parrott and Norwood. I want. It's a partnership possibly brewing there, but a goal for Parrott would give him the world and the team the world of confidence, right?
Well, we've had strikers with great partnerships in the past that have worked so well together. And it's just something we haven't... I can't remember the last time, maybe apart from the likes of Waggy and Garner, I can't really think of the last time we had a decent striking partnership where you always thought these guys could get goals. And if those two can then start to link up, if Parrott gets a goal, it's going to be a parrot off his back, not a monkey. So I can't say monkey off his back.
You'll make him more chirpy, will it, Steve?
Yeah, there you go. Oh Christ! Stop over ahead. If he gets a goal, there will be a lot of pressure off him. So it could be the start of something good. So
I love it. And yes, even gentlemen, 3 points, please, onwards and upwards. I'll put the call in upstairs. Hopefully, 3 points does arrive. Not just to speed and find through the post. Stephen Parry, good shout for Parrott to score. Yeah, I just fancy it tonight. Parrott to score. It's a big game, isn't it? Because we stand on the eve, like I've said at the start of the show, and a win here.
Stanley aren't a pushover, though, are they?
No, exactly. And I was saying to Freddie earlier, if you were in the Championship, you'd be looking at Stanley and making him your second team because it's a fairy tale waiting to happen, isn't it? Accrington Stanley on the verge of a playoff place. Doing it the right way, not doing it the PPG route, Wickham, doing it the right way. And because they're a rival of yours, you don't like it. And you're like, oh, no, it's a bit of a fairy tale, but I don't want it to happen at the expense of my team. But if we win tonight, what it happens to the team and Paul Cook, Neil, just opens it up. Like suddenly top two is a viable option again, particularly if, the results go our way.
Yeah, I'll wait for that to happen, to be honest. I just want to see game by game. I want to see more of what we've had the last two games. Just push on from there and, I'll then
trying to
start getting
move
excited.
Neil, trying to move you from your spot is like trying to get blood out of a stone. But Lincoln play Fleetwood tonight. You know, if results go our way, it's now that sort of we're getting to that sort of part of the year, Steve, where we're starting to keep an eye elsewhere. And I just look, we're building this takeover up. We're building Paul Cook up. Don't go and let it go flat in the first 5 minutes tonight. Like start on the front foot. Start pressing. Start with tempo. Start with urgency.
Yeah, that's it. And yeah, like you say, you're now starting to look after a game. Okay, so we've won, but they also won, so it still leaves us here and whatever. And you're definitely at that stage of the season now. And it's such a frustrating stage of the season to be at because not everything is in our hands. You know, we've got to rely on other teams. Like we could, like I said earlier, we could potentially still make a push for the top two, but we've got to get a run together and also hope it goes against teams above us, and that's incredibly frustrating because you can't make it happen. But start with tempo. Take what the week has given us so far. I said to my wife earlier, it was like I got onto a waltz from Friday night, and then I've not got off yet. I ain't got a clue where it's going to end, and if it's going to end, and it might end in May, Neil, with a playoff semi, a playoff final. It might end with a promotion tour, like since Friday and the whole Athletic breaking the news. And last night, if you've not seen it, fantastic interview on this channel with the chap from the Athletic. The Burnley comment alone made Neil crease. I got a message straight away. So that was good.
Love the Burnley quote. I was trying to get a straight face to an interview. I'm thinking that's brilliant. But since then, it's like a waltzer. It's just where is it going, Neil? I've seen Lee in the chat. You see,
your name's right.
I mean, only 15 years.
I'm just getting excited for this takeover. I just want it to happen now. I want to see everything behind the scenes start improving.
Yeah, big time. Joe Dickerson, to quote Vinnie Jones from Capital Carnage 1988, it's going to be emotional. It certainly is if the first game back is a playoff. I don't want playoffs though, Steve. As I said earlier, I want a top two finish, and I can't see, particularly with playing Lincoln and the game in hand, I can't see why, with a little bit of fortune, a little bit of vigour, why top two is out of reach, you know?
Well, I mean, I'm going to be a bit more, I don't know, sort of more down to earth. I'm going to say playoffs. I'll be more than happy to get back up to the championship in the playoffs or through the playoffs. But if we go up in the top two, if we get back into the top two, fantastic, you know. Like you say, we've got a game in hand on Lincoln. We've still got to play him. If results go our way, and if they go against other teams, we're in with a good shout. So anything is possible right now.
Arthur isn't good enough for top two. Under Paul Lambert, I'd probably agree with you. Yes, we were starting to turn a corner, but I'd agree with you. But this is under Paul Cook now, and I've heard all season from the fans, and I've disagreed at points, but I've heard this squad is better than what Paul Lambert's done with it. But it's currently sitting 2 points outside the playoffs. So if you're going to get another 10% out of it, Neil, it's not that impossible to think top two, is it?
I think top two is pushing it a little bit. I think playoffs is more where we're at, but let's wait and see what Cook can do with these lads. Yeah,
I think Lee Anderson's right here. Injuries will be key. Keep everyone fit if we have a chance. Yeah, you don't, as we said last week, Neil, we don't want to go into any games with Drennan and Sears up front, do we?
What were their nickname the other day?
Oh, Dreers or Diaries or something like that. Something the lads have come up with. Keenan Bennett, quickly. Didn't have the greatest of games on Saturday. Obviously got taken off. Some fans, me included, said didn't offer Luke Chambers the best of protection. I like the guy. I think he's a good player. I think there's something in him that you could perhaps mould into a decent player. Perhaps not at higher level. And if the takeover goes through, you perhaps would want better. But tonight, you'd like to see him pin the fullback back, Steve. You'd like to see him just get the ball and go at the fullback, really.
I'd like to see him get the ball, do what he does with it, and then just not run into trouble, because he just seems to keep it for that split second too long, and he gets himself trapped or in trouble, or he just gets lost. He's a good player. There's a good player in there, but needs a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of refining, and I think he'll be a decent player. But just as long as he can keep himself out of trouble.
He has a good turn and a good turn of pace. It's really his decisions and his final ball that let him down.
I love that comment from Lee. That's brilliant.
Yeah, me too. Bennett's tackled himself more in the position. Yeah, and that's the biggest issue with Bennett's there, Neil. Final end product, be it a cross, be it a shot. Wrong decision in a game against, I think it was Hull. We were doing the watch along where he
bloody learned to shoot, man.
Yeah.
How many times does he need to get into the box, get in front of the goalie, and then go, who can I pass to?
100%. 100%. I could not agree with you more. So we've got Harry Perry. Do you think we're ready for championship if we did go up this season? No. But who knows where you are with the next 2 months under your belt. Andre may be in a better position in terms of ability and growing and development, and of course takeover money. I mean, who knows what's going to happen. 3 minutes to kick off. Bold predictions time for this evening. This really feels like a new show. Like there's a new oomph about us, Steve. Do you know what I mean? Like the whole club just feels different. I like it.
Yeah.
Let's keep this feeling.
Yeah,
I've got my Ipswich back.
Yeah. It does feel that way.
I'm waiting for the takeover before I consider Ipswich are back.
Well, that's true. That's true. Michael Finch, you won't score if you don't shoot. Simple. Lee Anderson, 2-2. Lee, I'll just repeat in case there was a sort of a technical difficulty. Bold prediction time. I don't think 2-2's bold. But if you want to go with it, you go with it. Christopher Martin, 2-0. Love you really, Lee. 3-1, Johnny Duncan. Stuart's gone 4-0. See, fellas, that's Stuart's got the memo there, like 4-0. 2-1, solid 2-1. David King, 3-1. Freddie Van Damo. I always love reading that name out. It reminds me of Rob Van Dam at a wrestling. And growing up, he's one of my favourite wrestlers ever. And either of you wrestling fans?
No.
Move that on then. Tony Mann, you'll rarely hear me say this after such a shout. Someone Rivers, but I can see it's being a bold 3-1 in. Anti-Chicken, welcome in. 3-0 win. David, 6-0. David gets it. Love it. Michael Bold is 6-0. And Spring Bing, 2-0. What says you, Steve?
I am going to go 3-0. Norwood, Judge, and Enciala.
Norwood,
Why
Judge.
not?
Bloody hell. Norwood, Judge, and Enciala. Love it.
Are we really believing that our goal-scoring drought is completely over?
Nope.
At some point, a drought does have to end, though, and the floods do come.
I'm still not seeing it. I think I'll go 1-0.
Daniel Barnard's gone 0-0. You've gone 1. I mean, yeah, you two are very alike. You really are. Facebook, 2-0 says start. Come on, Town, let's win the playoffs. 2-0 says Mark Dowling. Enciala in our net, says Google user. No, I don't
scoring for us, not again.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. We are back at halftime, and then I believe we've reached the target. So a live second half watch long incoming. But until then, enjoy the game. And we're back at halftime right here. Don't go anywhere. It's the best channel for sport. With love, with care. See you at halftime. Oh, my prediction, 4-0.